Way back in secondary school, I know that many of us were members of the Young Farmers Club. I boasted a plot of land, not a hectare, not an acre, but I was able to grow maize, some tomatoes, some lentils, which we prepared in school and we ate. Whether it will be edible for us now, we don't know, but it was part of the excitement of growing up in Nigeria way back. It is hard to know if many young students today are also members of the Farmers Club and have their plots of land in secondary school under the subject agriculture. But we do know that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari has taken excellent and accelerated steps to ensure that farmers at all levels get the financial support that they need. We know about the rice pyramid. We know about the rice revolution. Are you aware of the rice policy? How accessible is fertilizer? Of course, you know that the price of local rice has continued to rise. What else is there to know about rice? Yes, it's the festive season, and many families nationwide will have the love of family and friend to bring forth rice on their tables, prepare it in delicious ways so that families can feast together. All this and more as we spearhead and showcase and enlighten you about the rice growing in Nigeria and its impact nationwide. Welcome, it's Weekend Deal. My name is Thelma Obasa. Weekend Deal. Before 2015, federal government spent loads of money importing rice from various countries around the world, especially from Thailand, and this impacted negatively on farmers in Nigeria. Well, President Muhammadu Buhari's government changed the status quo, changed the narrative, and of course we've all heard about the rice pyramid that he commissioned in January. There's lots more. Francis, tell us.
One area where this administration has recorded tremendous success is in the agricultural sector, with the introduction of programs like the Anchor Borrowers Program, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones Program. The list is endless.
President Muhammadu Buhari inherited a country which certainly needed to import so many food items. On rice alone, Nigeria was spending $5 million every day to import rice. And, President embarked on this program to achieve food self-sufficiency. And when the program took off and it was being threatened by smuggling, he shut down the borders to stop inflow of smuggled food. And within that period, we were able to build production to the point where we don't need, as we speak today, we don't need to import foreign rice. What we have is sufficient for the country. In fact, we are selling a lot of the neighborhood. The important gain from this, not only has he secured our own independence as a nation, because there is no country that can call itself as an independent country if it cannot feed itself without shortages of food, including rice.
Before 2015, Nigeria spent billions of naira in importing shiploads of rice, especially from Thailand. To correct this anomaly, President Muhammadu Buhari, on assumption of office, initiated the process to make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice production. His words became actualized with the launching of the Anchor Borrowers Program through the Central Bank of Nigeria. a program designed to boost agricultural yields, halt food importation, and address negative trade balance.
The real problem with the anchor borrowers and all those other initiatives, particularly by the Central Bank of Nigeria, is that Nigerians collect and don't want to pay back. I've seen it in my state in Kano. They called farmers in the field for a meeting and to say, so can we get back the money we gave you now that you have harvested? And people brought out placards and they were saying that they thought that new loans had been brought and that they were ready to collect now for the following growing season. But the whole idea, of course, is that these loans are supposed to be recycled.
As a result of the Anchor Borrowers Program, Nigeria witnessed a consistent growth in rice production. In 2017, for instance, Nigeria produced 4,536 metric tons of rice, 4,470 metric tons in 2018, 4,538 tons in 2019, 5,040 metric tons as at July 2020, and about 1 million metric tons as at the end of 2021.
If the local producer of rice in the country buys fertilizer that has cost that is significantly increased, they will not be producing at a loss. They obviously have to escalate their own prices. Otherwise, next year, they will not grow. So, in effect, I'm trying to say that we are affected by global trends. And inflation, cost of living crisis is a global phenomenon as we speak today. And it is affecting us. And government is doing the most that it can. It is the market that will determine what prices people pay for goods. This cannot be dictatorially indicated by government.
Rice importation has successfully been curtailed as seen in the incremental reduction. Thailand, which exported 1.3 million metric tons of rice to Nigeria in 2014, exported 58,000 metric tons in 2016 and 2,160 metric tons as at the end of 2021.
We are challenged by smuggling. And true, that is not that it doesn't happen. And much of this, of course, was also the reason for the border closure, because the president insisted that our neighbors must come to the table to talk to us about how they will collaborate with us to stop smuggling in order not to undermine domestic agriculture.
The successes recorded in rice production is what has translated into the mega rice pyramid recently unveiled in Abuja. The 13 pyramids, comprising 1 million bags each, represent the aggregated paddy rice submitted as repayment of loans by members of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria.
It wasn't only in Abuja that we had the rice pyramids unveiled. Kebbi did it, Gombe did it, even Ekiti and Ebonyi, they also had rice pyramids. So it didn't happen in just one place by accident, so it could not have been something that was dramatized. Instead of being critical, Nigerians should truly be proud of the fact that we're able to make this achievement. The rice revolution in the country is real. Nobody can wish it away.
President Muhammadu Buhari deserves some accolade for his resilience and faith in the Nigerian farmers. His firm insistence that Nigerians must eat and buy Nigeria is paying off in the long run. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on President Muhammadu Buhari's rice revolution in Nigeria. Weekend Deal.
The rice revolution of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and it will interest you to know that right here now we will be chatting with the national president of the Farmers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Kabir Ibrahim. Yes, it's great to have you with us today on Weekend Deal.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It will interest you to know that he's also an architect and has been for quite a number of years. Welcome to Weekend Deal.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're hands-on with all the farmers nationwide. A lot has happened with them, not just in the last 1 year, but in the last 7.5 years. What are they telling you at this time?
Well, it's a mixed bag. We have had problems from the last 2-3 years. Things have not been very good with the farmers and with everyone in Nigeria. In 2020, we had the COVID-19, which prevented some of us from even accessing our farms until a task force was formed. Then we began going, and as we were working, there was insecurity in some parts of Nigeria. And then this year, there is devastating flooding. So the farmers, like everybody else, go to the market. They also buy other things that they do not produce, and the inflation is biting on everybody. The farmers are not different from all other Nigerians. We are complaining like everybody else.
Indeed. Perhaps that's why, even though it's festive season and ordinarily purchasing bags of rice, we're not buying the rice in models.
Well, look, it's happening all over the globe. But it's happening more in Nigeria because of the purchasing power of our currency. Because, when you produce rice, you have to put some inputs, and those inputs are sold at a price, or any other food stuff for that matter. So the prices have to be high for the farmer to even break even, to be able to go back the following year to produce. So inflation on food is very, very high. But you can see the NBS has been churning out facts and figures on inflation. On food, it's something like 20% or so, and that is very bad. But you can just see in Japan today, they are having, in 41 years, they are having the worst inflation ever. And it's happening in the United States. You can see the trillions of dollars that the president is asking the parliament to approve to cushion inflation. And everywhere else, in the Eurozone, everywhere. People are attributing it to the war in the Ukraine and Russia and many other things, COVID-19, all kinds of things, and of course climate change. This devastation that I mentioned is happening all over the world. So we are in denial. We have been in denial of climate change. We must do something.
Let's talk about the rice pyramid that was commissioned by Mr. President in January. When he commissioned that, what Nigerians got to hear was that we would grow enough rice, Nigerians will be well fed, we will have enough, and then we'll export in the shortest possible time. Perhaps that shortest possible time was not stipulated. But tell us, how did that impact where we are today?
See, I was invited there to give a goodwill message. But when I got there, I think we were displaced by governors. Some 4 governors, I think, gave the goodwill message. But soon afterwards, I gave an interview at the FRC, and I said, the rice pyramid is very much misunderstood.
Tell us.
See, in the 60s and 70s, when they had the groundnut pyramids and all, they were not for sure. Because these things were being exported. We were not processing any of these things. So the agents would buy and put them as pyramids before carrying abroad. Here, I think as a matter of necessity, the RIFAN and the CBN, their partnership needed to show to the world or to the Nigerians that they were doing some work. So they did those pyramids as a matter of necessity to show that they were working and they were producing something. But not necessarily because we have self-sufficiency in rice, and not because it would come anytime soon. Unless we change our actions, it will never come.
But if the borders have been closed, our pyramid has been commissioned and give Nigerians hope, and we look forward to self-sufficiency, talking about rice. Where was the gap? Because the borders closed, loans were given over 1 trillion naira, we hear, and touching the lives of over 5 million farmers in Nigeria. Where is the gap, and what should be done
I'm
now?
not sure about 3 trillion naira, but whatever it is, the institutions in our country must work properly. If you tell me borders are closed, and you have just told me that you buy foreign rice, what are we talking about? The borders have not...
Who said they buy foreign rice?
You told me that people are gravitating towards...
No, I didn't say that.
Right.
I said if the local rice continues to go higher and higher, it may leave many people little or no option because of their purchasing power. It's not what they want to do. They want to buy the local rice.
Yeah, but if they don't find what they do, what do they do? If you don't find the foreign rice, you can't buy it. That's what I mean. Institutions must work. We should not be able to bring foreign rice into Nigeria if the institutions settle to the responsibility of making sure that these things don't come in. They will not come. And then even the CBN, we just said something, and the CBN is listening, and we have said it time and again. If the CBN works very well, the intervention it has is ad hoc. What it is doing should be institutionalized in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, where it could be monitored and experts will be there. Who is the expert in agriculture in the in the CBN today?
I'll ask you to hold that thought. We'll come back and take that. When we return, Dayola has been doing quite some research. It's all about rice. Perhaps it's not the rice pyramids, Let's go in depth.
It is that time of the year again, the Christmas season. The season where many households in Nigeria crave for rice. In fact, a popular quote says, Christmas in Africa is just like a World Rice Day. And it is often said that Christmas in Nigeria without rice is no Christmas. It can be concluded that rice is the most consumed food in Nigeria, not only during festivities like Christmas, but all year round.
Rice found its own way into our own menu in the recent because of modernization. People felt that if you don't eat rice, you have not arrived. You don't want to load their stomach with heavy food again. So instead of root tubers, pounded yam, gari, like that, you can now begin to patronize rice, which is lighter and so on. So rice becomes important because of the strategic placement of rice. Number one, you can cook rice and eat it as white rice. You can do tuwo with rice. You can also process it into beer or alcohol. You can also process it into jollof rice. So rice is one food crop that you can process it into so many foods.
Years back, rice seemed like a luxury in most Nigerian homes. Back then, rice was the special meal on Sundays for those who could afford it. For others, it was a delicacy specially made during celebrations like Eid, Christmas, New Year, Easter, birthdays, weddings, and so on. Those days recently came back again when the prices of rice and other commodities were headed for the roof.
We have already conditioned our mind that this is how it's supposed to be. It's unfortunate that it is scarce. But it is scarce also because we are a problem to ourselves. We have this rice, we don't want to patronize it. We have this rice, we still want to export it or smuggle it out. This is the reality of the situation. So it's doing a lot of damage to us. So we must also check attitude of our for ourselves and also check the attitude of marketers and smugglers. So if rice is scarce, it is a deliberate attempt by enemies of progress. And we are telling them they should stop it because the country is for all of us. If we insist that it will go like this, then our children will suffer.
Amidst the rising cost of imported rice majorly caused by the scarcity of foreign exchange, the government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, banned the importation of foreign rice to encourage local farmers and investors more in the business of local rice production. A move that led to the display of Rice Pyramid in Abuja on January 16, 2022, that showcased the emergence of Nigeria as a major rice producer under the watch of President Muhammadu Buhari.
And good enough, the country is a country that has suitable land for rice production. Nearly every part of Nigeria is suitable for rice production. It's encouraged that people should go into rice production. Having collected the money, people had to now bring back what you have produced. So through the refund, this Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, the refund would now come to say, okay, we have given you this money. Produce what we want. This is what exactly we want. So produce it and bring it. And so the assemblage of what had been produced through the Anko Bora Program Initiative will now assemble this pyramid. And the pyramid is to tell the world that, look, we have the capacity to also produce this rice in this quantum. So the pyramid was 1.2 million bags of paddy rice. And it's sending a signal to the world that we can do it.
Nigerians whose hope that the rice displayed in the pyramids would be used to flood the markets to bring down prices of the commodities were disappointed when they realized that the rice in the pyramids were not ready for consumption. In fact, some citizens refer to it as a scam.
It wasn't a scam. Look, you have invested heavily in the rice through the anchor borrower. So you need to recoup your money. And you cannot recoup this money if you don't tell the world this is what we have done. It's just part of transparency and accountability. So the world should be able to know, the nation should be able to know that, look, the government has done this, and this is for you to see. And it is left for state governors now to take this cue from the federal government, that, look, if federal government has done it, we can as well do it.
Many Nigerian-made rice brands are everywhere in the country today, but self-sufficiency is yet to be achieved because the prices are still not affordable to many Nigerians. The government must continue to encourage and scale up local production of rice, curtail illegal importation of foreign rice, ensure peace and security in the farmland, and introduce sustainable financing to rice millers to create the enabling environment where rice production will be surplus to drive down the prices and stimulate real export.
It is interesting to know that, yes, the rice pyramids came up. We heard about it. Many Nigerians became extremely hopeful and expectant about what the year will birth in terms of pricing of these bags, 50 kg bags and others. I'm talking with the national president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, Mr. Kirby Ibrahim. You said there are other factors that go into rice production beyond the farmer just getting the loan. Like we know the Anchor Borrowers Program, for example, gave a lot of farmers loan to go farm. And we thought, okay, well, that's it. Nigeria is going to be self-sufficient in terms of food. What mitigated against that?
Well, many things. You see, our population is very high. And the rice farmers, they are not up to 1 million. The hectareage is not so vast. And then the places where rice thrives are also limited.
1 million?
Just listen to me. I'm telling you that they are not up to 1 million. Or have they said that they are more than 1 million everywhere? Have they ever said it? Has the loan ever reached over 1 million of them? So we let us work with that. Let us work with that, and then let us talk about the issues. Now, rice revolution should really work if all other things work. But the consumption of rice has to also be looked at with realistically. If you want a good food system, there are 4 cardinal principles in a food system. Production is one, processing another, distribution is another. In fact, there are 5. Marketing is another, and then the consumption. If you consume it like a gluten, if you consume rice like a gluten, even in your household, ordinarily, if a bag is going to last 2 weeks and your children eat like glutens, it may just be there for 10 days.
We've been hearing, listening, talking about the impact the Anchor Borrowers Program has made, not just on rice, on farmers in general. Are we hearing now that that program has not made any impact? There's no progress?
No, definitely it has made impact. That's why you have the rice pyramid. In fact, before rice pyramid, you had the maize pyramid. In Katsina, they did the maize pyramid. But I don't know whether it is reasonable to have a maize pyramid in metropolitan Katsina. Because in Katsina local government, there is we don't produce maize. It is mainly produced in the southern part around Funtua. So if you have a pyramid in Katsina, it means that you brought the maize there. It's not realistic. When you did the pyramids in Abuja, how much rice do you produce in Abuja? You transported this. Look at the colossal sum of money that was used in even transporting and hoisting it, making the pyramid, and then dismantling and taking back all this. Look at the cost of transportation in Nigeria. That is a lot of money. That is money that can even make other farmers work. So look, we need to think very well. We need to think through all these things before we do them. You have to put people who know what to do to manage these things.
Indeed.
Period.
Indeed. At some point, you mentioned what happens in other countries about checking pricing, that no one can put arbitrary pricing on something. The Consumer Protection Council needs to go over it. Can't we bring that to the fore, talking about rice?
There is
with the way the price is going up on a daily basis, is it being priced rightly?
There are two things here. If you have a mixed economy, we are not a communist nation. You must allow whatever you produce to find its own level in price. The Consumer Protection Bill does more than price control. It makes sure that the consumer is not shortchanged. There are many things. It's a gamut of things that you need to be protected with. There is food safety. Nobody should be allowed to sell you any food item that will be harmful to your health. There are many institutions saddled with that. You have NAFDAC, you have SON, they all work together. They coalesce to ensure that. Now, if the pricing is outrageous, you will need to look at it. You will need to look at why is it happening. Then make sure that these things are not done. Now, easily, in production of food crops, for instance, you use fertilizers. The government itself, over time, and even in this administration, they had the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. They were subsidizing fertilizer. The subsidy should go to the farmer, not to the middleman. It should not just be in name. The subsidy should go to the farmer, because the resultant effect is the price of food that you are talking about here. In 2020, because of COVID-19, I think the chairman of the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative even came on TV, gave a further subsidy from 5,500 that we were buying. We bought at 5,000, 2010. In 2021, the NSIA said the subsidy was getting too much on it. Its books were showing red. Therefore, they were withdrawing and allowing the blenders to buy and go to the market. At that time, in the beginning, the blenders produced 2010 at about 11,000. So they were selling 11,200, 11,300, 11,500 to us. Farmers were groaning. They could not afford it. Now, the fertilizer is being blended 2010 at close to 20,000. So that's because of distribution and all that and other logistics. It is being sold at 25, 30, even 35,000. If the prices of these things go high, they are components of the production. They contribute to the price. Therefore, the consumers will bear the brunt.
Okay.
That is logic. That is being realistic.
And that's information you're sharing with us. Let us now look for solutions, because when we itemize and identify challenges, what people want to hear is that things are going to get better when we, and that is our hope at the end of the day. But we want to take a feature. I'm told that a feature is coming from Kano, talking about the rice production as well.
Kano is one of the most important rice production areas in Nigeria, with thousands of rice farmers. Data indicates that Kano has about 1.5 smallholder rice farmers who are capable of producing more than 2 million tons of rice per season. This is possible because the state is blessed with potentials of large water bodies coupled with the expanse of agricultural land.
Kano State has a great potential in terms of rice production. We have about over 19 dams that are in the state, and those dams are underutilized. And if they can be utilized, I think the production of rice is going to be drastically increased than what we are producing right now at the moment.
In years back, all these potentials did not guarantee food security because of so many factors, to include subsistence farming practice by the farmers and lack of mechanized agriculture.
99% of our farmers are smallholders farmers. who cannot afford to buy a single bag of fertilizer.
Our farmers here, they are very knowledgeable in terms of rice production. They are. But it's just that they don't have, they don't have sufficient inputs to produce, to make that production of rice. We need tractors, farm inputs or farm equipments such as, the tractors, combine harvesters, planters, power tillers, and equipments like that. That will enhance the production of that rice. Because once we are mechanized, our production will drastically increase.
In recent years, rice revolution in Kano started in 2014, when 70,000 rice farmers were carried along to benefit from the year's dry season farming programs. Decision to close border also create demand for rice cultivation within the nation. This no doubt opens up opportunity for more people to partake in production.
Right now, West African countries are approaching Nigeria, especially using the Anchor Borrowers program to borrow a leaf from what we are doing, so they can also improve their production.
The need to produce rice is one aspect. The desire to process it to better quality is another.
We have a production facility and our raw materials must come from the farmers. So we take them as partners in development and in progress, and we support them through inputs, through training, and ensure that the relationship is a win-win situation.
More cultivation of rice recently brings about spread of small, medium and large-scale processing facilities across Kano State.
We have integrated mediums and the small ones. Even the modular ones, we have them allowed in Kano, which we don't think what we produce will be sufficient enough to provide those mills, But when we increase the land, I'm quite sure, the production will be sufficient enough for them to get the raw materials they need to mill their rice.
That package about rice, the farmers, and what they are facing and how they are surmounting challenges reached us from Kano. You're watching Weekend Deal. Keep your messages coming in. Our program is interactive. We'll take a break and then we'll be back. Weekend Deal. You're watching Weekend Deal. Our focus is on the rice revolution by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and I've been speaking with the national president of the All Farm Association of Nigeria, AFAN, Mr. Kabir Ibrahim. He has spoken extensively. We've identified challenges. Let's look forward to the solutions now.
Well, limited to rice, for instance, the Anchor Borrower intervention should be institutionalized and should reach out many more farmers so that they pay and others get it. The loan should be revolving. The concept of waiting for support to do the whole business, I think, is misplaced. The support is just to augment what you yourself are doing, to make what you are doing better, to scale what you are doing.
To scale up.
Let us all understand that. I was a president of Poultry Association of Nigeria. We didn't get Ankobra, but we were doing poultry. Obasanjo was probably one of the biggest farmers in this at some point. He didn't get that kind of support. He got loan on his own to do the thing, and so many others. The preponderance of poultry farming in the southwest is very high. So farming is a business. You must be able to raise capital to do the business. If government is doing something, it's a support. It's not the all in all. Two, to manage the affairs in the agriculture space, you need to put people who know what to do. Put round bowls in round holes. Do not put anybody because of their political leanings to manage agriculture, because it's a very, very serious business. Everybody in Nigeria is, and our population is in excess of 200 million. So for us to be able to get food sufficiency and then food security, we need to work very hard. And all farmers, be they rice, whatever, should learn to speak with one voice, should be each other's keeper, because the farmers constitute about 70% of the population of this country. If all of them speak and act in unison, results will come quickly and better. Four, or is it five now? Everybody has a stake in agriculture. So the leadership, overall leadership of the country, should always look upon agriculture as the mainstay or the backbone of the economy. Because if you come here on an empty stomach, will you be able to do anything productive in NTA? The people are exploring for oil. If they don't eat well, will they be able to do that? If you're an architect, will you be able to design properly when you have an empty stomach? So agriculture or food production, to narrow it down, should first aim to make everybody food sufficient, or the larger percentage of the population. In the United States, food is the cheapest thing, and that is why they were able to even go to the moon. They are able to do many other things. Of course, they are outsourcing many things to help the world, but food is adequate, affordable. So, and you must aim for that, to be able to fast track development in other areas. If you talk about maize farmers, there are 500,000. Let them be 500,000, and you can reach them, not imaginary ones. So that's what we should do. We must do that. You cannot do any planning without data. And it happens in many areas, in the livestock sector, in every part. Even in NTA here, if you don't have the data of the people that are paid salaries, some of them may be ghost, and so you can't go anywhere.
It's interesting. We've heard quite a bit, about rice, farming, challenges, the way forward. Nigerians will be celebrating Christmas. Christmas the world over celebrated, but Nigeria, of course, is where we are at this time. As we gather together tomorrow, and in spite of the challenges we face in purchase of rice, we'd like you to address them on that note. What they face is temporary.
I have the firm belief that the experiences of 2022 in the food system will not happen again. I have every belief that the farmers will work assiduously to ensure that there is sufficient food production in this country. The government, on its part, has been doing a lot in opening windows, and even the intervention of CBN is doing something, but it can do more. I believe that the next Christmas will be very good for everyone, better than the 2022. And I hope in time to come, maybe in 10 years, maybe in our lifetime, we will be very close or even have food security in this country. There are SDGs that we must attain for development. It's like an impetus for other forms of development. SDG 1 and 2, no poverty, zero hunger. You must do something about them. Once you do that, you now go on to others. But contiguously, you must also address the issues on climate change.
Interesting.
So you need to work round the clock to do it. And then farmers
to start wrapping up.
Farmers must work all year round. We don't wait for the rains. We should be able to work all year round. That's what happens in the first world.
But that's why you're at the helm of affairs. So you continue to tell the farmers that don't rest your oars. You're working round the clock to ensure that not just Nigerians eat, not just rice. We have meals we eat regularly that we can purchase, and all too soon we'll be able to export, just like our expectations are high about that. The national president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, Mr. Kabir Ibrahim, has been chatting with us on Weekend Deal today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Compliments of this season.
Same to you, madam, and same to all Nigerians.
Thank you, sir. It's time to touch down in Lagos. There's been a partnership between Lagos and Kebbi. Is still talking about this staple mill. Let's see this.
In a bid to ensure that Lagosians are self-sufficient in food production, enough to cater for the large influx of people into the metropolitan city, in 2017, the Lagos State government embarked on a project, the Rice Mill Project.
The Mota Rice Mill is in a class of its own. It is referred to as the Rolls-Royce of rice mills in Africa, being the third largest of its kind in the world, and you having the #1 equipment manufacturer of mills putting it together. It also means that in terms of the cost of it, it is high.
The positive impact of having an industrial rice mill will include availability of the products closer to the people. Like there's a tendency that the rice will be very close to us, and that could also help to reduce the prices, especially if government regulates it. Also proximity of the rice to the people. But there are also a number of negative impacts that we need to look at and see how to manage them. Things like traffic congestion. That could also be a negative impact. And that why we are drawing attention to these negative impacts, as it were, is as a result of, so that government can look into them and see how to manage them. Then the waste from the rice mill could also be a source of negative impact that the government should also look at. How do we manage the waste that will come from that rice mill? I want to believe they have an integrated management system where the waste can be recycled or can be reused for some other products.
A multi-billion naira rice project in Ikota, Ikorodu, Lagos brought a ray of hope to the community, and it held a promise of not only the provision of food in abundance in Lagos, but the opportunity of job creation as well.
The industry or the firm or the organization also will employ Lagosians. And as Lagosians are employed, that's another positive impact. And that will be revenue, okay? Revenue will also accrue to the government. That will also be positive impact to Lagos State government.
A total of 32 metric tons of grain per hour and a gross capacity to produce 2.8 million 50 kg bags of rice yearly was projected.
Like we always want to do in Lagos, we want to deliver value. We also want to make sure that we have the best processing facilities such that we are able to meet the demand of our people. That is why you have what the Mota Rice Mill is today.
Has the Lagos State partnership with Kebbi State in rice production and marketing produced any effective results?
I'm aware that they are entering into collaboration with Kebbi State. So there should be a constant supply of the rice grain itself that will be milled for availability, so that it will not be underutilized. The plant will not be underutilized.
Kebbi is the #1 producer of rice in Nigeria, so it only made sense for Lagos to partner with Kebbi for us to get processed rice into the state. But the agreement is going to shift from receiving processed rice to us receiving paddy for us to be able to process in our mill.
The Rice Mill Project is a symbol of hope not only for residents in Lagos, but for individuals across the country who are seeking better opportunities in life.
You're watching Weekend Deal. Keep your messages coming in. We just touched down in Lagos and we saw the partnership. Let's talk about it. We know where they are now, and we wish them greater, better experiences in the future. During the week, we had a chat with Senator Bima Mohammed. He's the deputy chairman of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. He is of the Niger South constituency from Niger State. Agriculture, rice is so key. Senator Bima Mohammed, Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development from Niger South in Niger State. It's great to have you on Weekend Deal. Everyone is talking about rice. It's the season. You know, when it's festive season, we're cooking it. But before we get to what we're cooking, let's start from January this year. Our president, when he was commissioning the rice pyramid, and he talked about rice exportation, that we'll have enough in Nigeria to eat, We will grow, we will eat, and they will export. Where are we now?
One, the security situation that we have in the extreme north, in the north central, the northeast, and the northwest. That has contributed greatly in reducing the movement of rice from one location to the other. Another thing is the infrastructural decay in this country. The roads have gone very bad in this country. You should also think about the exchange rate, the diesel that is used to produce the rice from paddy to rice has increased drastically. A liter of diesel now is almost about 1,000 naira. So all those factors have contributed to the to the price of rice. Not because we are not producing enough. We are producing enough in this country presently.
But this are the way things stand now. It has become so challenging to eat our main staple food, and it's cause for concern. Is that where the rice bill comes in? And you are from Niger State, where a lot of Nupe people grow rice.
Not just Nupe people. Niger State is rice state. In the state where I think in this country presently we are number one in the production of rice in this country. And I can say that's one of the reasons why I was motivated to sponsor the bill on National Rice Development Council, because we need to organize the rice sector. The rice sector in this country presently is not properly organized. The stakeholder, we have various stakeholders, and everybody is just on its own. So we need to put the stakeholders together to ensure that there's proper guidance, there's proper collaboration, and that will enhance the research into the rice production, in fact, the entire value chain.
But from what we hear, from what everyone told us now, the main issue is not the research. It's those things that farmers or growers or sellers or middlemen need to utilize before the rice gets to us, the common man and woman. How is the bill going to address these challenges that they face?
Yes, the research is very important because, for example, we had a lot of flooding problems this year in this country. The research can help us in such a way that the type of rice that will be grown will be able to withstand flooding for a number of weeks or months. So research is very, very important. The research can also reduce the period for the from the time it is sown to the time it is harvested. So research is very important in the entire value chain. And research is not only in the production of the rice, but as I said, the entire value chain is very important. Even the packaging is very important. You need research into the way you package rice.
But that seems not to be where we're having our biggest challenge at the moment. But tell us, where is the bill at the moment?
The bill has gone through the first reading, the second reading in the chamber. It went for public hearing. And after that, it also went for the third reading, and it went also to the House of Reps and for their concurrence. And presently, as I speak with you, it will be the presidency.
So we're entering the new year with optimism. Let's come to the ABP program, the Anchor Borers program. We have come to learn that over 1 trillion naira has been disbursed to over 5 million farmers, male and female, and that it has come to a point where the farmers are smiling home. So how are we going to arrange these scales so that it's not just the farmers that are smiling home? And even when the bill is passed and everything is in order, will we start to feel the impact immediately? As we speak, many families may not be able to purchase rice this December.
Yes, I agree with you that the cost of rice presently in the country is a big challenge to a lot of families. And rice is the most stable food, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. I'm fully aware of that. I want to assure you that this government is doing its best to bring down the price of rice through various programs. This Anchor Borers program is one of them. When the farmers are getting soft loans, And through soft loans, they will be able to do a lot of things, a lot of production, and at reduced cost. I want to assure you that the way things are going, the impact may not be felt immediately. It takes time for impact, especially for agriculture. It takes some time because the farmers do not necessarily have to recoup their investment immediately. So there are a lot of factors, and I want to believe that yes, it's not only the farmers that will be smiling home, it's a lot of Nigerians will smile home in the next 1, 2, 3 years. God willing.
1, 2, 3 years. Wow. We are at 47, 48, 49, 50,000. If I speak for the masses, I do not think we have the patience to wait for 1, 2, 3 years. I want to lift the optimism bar even higher and say 12 months will be very fine.
That'll be fine.
12 months will be great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you now personally. Coming from a state where rice is largely grown, that means it's largely eaten. So you met, you just entered Lajes now. Rice is being grown. You know about rice. What are you doing to take this brilliant initiative far and wide in Nigeria to the extent that we can bring this cost down? 50,000, Senator, 50,000 for a bag.
Well, just as you said, my state is far ahead in rice production. And as you rightly know, we have also sponsored a bill. And I want to believe that by the time Mr. President assents to this bill and the bill is practicalized, I want to believe that when because now the stakeholders, everybody is just on their own. By the time the stakeholders are together, they will be able to talk, they will be able to collaborate, they will be able to cooperate and possibly reduce the prices of some of these things. And the value chain, the entire value chain, by the time a lot of research and a lot of collaboration is there between the various stakeholders, I want to believe that some of these things that we are talking about, like the price, will come down. And government is also trying to address the issue of the security challenges that we have. It's also trying to address the issue of the infrastructural decay that we have. I believe by the time all these things come to play, it will go a long way to reduce the price of rice. Not just rice, a lot of commodities that we have in this country.
Nigerians will have cause to smile quite a lot. You do green. Go beyond the smile. Let's go into the bill proper. I know we have touched on it, but let's go into it proper so that Nigerians can fully comprehend at what level, at what point we are. What does it entail?
The bill is trying to create a rice development council for this country.
It is the first of its kind?
Yeah, it's first of its kind. No, not in Africa. South Africa has, Tanzania has, and a lot of other countries, even in America.
And it has made a positive impact there?
Yes, in those countries. In America, there is Rice Council. In Taiwan, there is Rice Council. In India, there is Rice Council. So there are a lot of rice councils around us. By the time you have people that are engaged in similar business, related business, talking together, planning together, you understand, it goes a long way to address a lot of issues concerning that commodity. Because people are talking together. When everybody is on its own and doing their things, things don't go well.
But so far, how has the immense production that Niger generates, how have you been able to pass the message through other commissioners of agriculture to other states so that they borrow a leaf from what's happening in Niger?
As I told you earlier, we do meet in seminars, in workshops. We do meet with them and we do exchange ideas and we do support each other in one way or another. And I want to assure you that this Rice Development Council bill is being supported by virtually all the stakeholders. During the public hearing, virtually a lot of ministries were represented. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment, Ministry of so many ministries were represented. Water Resources, they were all there. The various other stakeholders like the RIFAN, the RIPAN, the RIDMA. There are so many of them. I don't even remember the name of some of these.
But I'd like
and that is why it's very important for them to come down together, under one council.
It is our hope that in practice, this bill when passed ventrally, will be as brilliant as it is in record. I read a bit of it, and it's very engaging. It gives hope. It gives optimism. It's when it comes to the reality of the day, and I'm telling you, Nigerians cannot wait for 2 years. At 50,000, 45,000, it's already too hefty for many people to afford. Please, Senator, accelerate this. Okay, give it the punch and the push it deserves.
The best that the National Assembly can do, we have done that. The bill had gone through all the processes. The bill had been passed to Mr. President for him to assent to the bill. So we are hoping that within the time frame in the Constitution, Mr. President will assent to it. If he fails to do so, it will come back to us and we will do the needful. I can assure you of that.
Please continue to do the needful. Address Nigerians on your final words. Based on how vital rice is to us, all the promises we've been made in the past, our hopes and expectations, and how we're looking forward to the eventual return of that bill and its passage, and what it will present for us as Nigerians, specifically on the price.
I would like to assure you, I would like to assure all Nigerians that by the grace of God, when this bill is passed and this bill is put into practice, it becomes an act after the Mr. President assent to the bill. I want to assure you that the stakeholders will do their best under our oversight functions. We will do the best from the National Assembly to ensure that the council do its best and see that Nigerians benefit from the bill.
You have 5 months, but we have how encouraged are we that those coming after 5 months for this administration, it's our hope that it will be signed before 5 months elapses.
I want to assure you that by the grace of God it will be signed.
It's been quite engaging chatting with you, Senator Bima Mohammed, Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development from Niger South, Niger State, especially as it concerns our staple food, rice. We hope for good news very soon.
Thank you.
For today, we say compliments of the season. Round this heart is Merry Christmas, but tomorrow, join us again. We're still talking about the rice revolution with regard to PMB's administration, but then we'll be saying Merry Christmas, and we have a beautiful cake we'd like you to join in the cutting. God bless us all, and God bless our great country, Nigeria.